Hello everyone. Today's case is pretty spooky considering how many of us has probably been in Walmart parking lots at all hours of the day and night, and we didn't expect anything bad to happen. But in March of 2022, something bad did happen. It happened to a beautiful 18-year-old girl who was just trying to be responsible and get to work. On Saturday, March 12th, around 5 a.m., 18-year-old Naomi Irion was sitting in her car in a Walmart parking lot. This Walmart was located in Fernley, Nevada, and Naomi was sitting in this parking lot at 5 a.m. because she was actually waiting for a shuttle to take her to her job at Panasonic Energy of North America, which was in the Reno area. But Naomi would never make it to work that morning. And as the day went on and night fell and then the next day started, her brother Casey Valley started to get worried because Naomi hadn't returned home from work.
When she went to work like normal that morning, how did you find out something was wrong?
I didn't the first day she was gone. I went to bed early that Saturday. I went to bed around 7:30. I was exhausted, and she gets home around 8:15, 8:30 on a normal day, and it wasn't really that weird for us to not cross paths for one day, you know. It also wasn't that weird for us to not check in with each other for a 24-hour period, you know. And when I texted her once or twice on Sunday, but I assumed she was at work because I woke up after 5 a.m. when she would be leaving. And, you know, nothing was amiss physically. There was no reason for me to believe that anything was wrong. She wasn't answering my text messages. I tried to call her because I had a couple things I wanted to talk to her. I actually, my girlfriend and I planted some trees that Sunday, and I was really excited about it, and I really wanted to show her. And I had a flashlight out ready to go, and I was kind of waiting for her to come home. And when 8:30 rolled around and she didn't show up, you know, I was trying to call her and everything like that, and no response. And my girlfriend convinced me that, you know, something's definitely wrong.
So from there, he ended up calling 911 and reporting his sister missing. But who was Naomi Irion? Naomi was 18 years old in March of 2022. She was actually pretty tall. She was 5'11". She had dyed black hair, green eyes, and a septum piercing. Her brother Casey had actually moved from Wyoming to Nevada around 2020, it seemed like, and then in August of 2021 is when Naomi ended up following him to Fernley, and from there she moved in with him. It turned out her parents, Diana and Herve Irion, actually lived in South Africa because her father actually was a U.S. diplomat.
You live in South Africa.
Yes.
And Naomi lived in South Africa
Yes.
with you before moving with her brother.
She lived with us there for 2 years. She went to the American International School of Johannesburg, and she graduated high school there.
So Naomi was used to sort of would you say like a sheltered life in some ways, or
We
a
are
secure life?
very protected. We live in a very secure compound with 12-foot walls with razor wire that's electrified on top. We have armed guard at our gate. Everybody has to show ID in order to get in. All of our windows and doors have, you know, steel bars and grills, and we have a security system, emergency panic buttons in every room. Yeah, we're very well protected.
That's how she grew up, sort of in other countries too.
In Germany, not so much, because it's very safe there. So the freedom of movement that she had there was very special. But in Moscow, it was also, you know, we were also very well protected there as well because of the environment.
So most of Naomi's life was actually spent traveling around the world with her family and spending time in these like diplomatic areas under really strict security. So living like that her entire life, she finally wanted to have her own freedom and to live, you know, an average regular life like any other teenage girl. Naomi wanted to buy her own car. She wanted to have her own job. She wanted to go to college. She wanted to get a boyfriend, which were all things that she couldn't do if she was traveling around the world with a diplomatic parent. So wanting to have her own freedoms and responsibilities, she moved back to the US to live with her brother. And it seemed like Naomi was doing great in Nevada. She had her own vehicle, she had her own job, she had that freedom she finally wanted, and she had so much to look forward to. Her sister Tamara was quoted saying, "Everything seemed normal. She was excited about her life. She was asking me about how I was. She's so much more concerned about me. Everything seemed totally fine." Police would initially characterize Naomi's disappearance as suspicious in nature. They would also discover that Naomi was last active on social media between 5:09 a.m. and 5:23 a.m. on March 12th, that morning when she was in the Walmart parking lot. Shortly after Naomi's disappearance, police would end up searching the Walmart parking lot surveillance footage, and what they would find was terrifying. Just a minute after Naomi's last Snapchat ping, at 5:24 a.m., a man is seen on the surveillance video walking along the pathway in front of the Walmart towards Naomi's vehicle. And this man was wearing a mask and a hoodie, so his entire face and identity was concealed, maybe purposefully. He was also thought to have been walking from a homeless camp that was along the border of the Walmart. According to Naomi's brother Casey, who actually seen the surveillance footage as well, Naomi was sitting in the passenger seat of her vehicle, but then the suspect ended up either saying or doing something that caused Naomi to move over into the passenger seat of her car. The suspect ended up getting into the driver's seat and then driving off in an unknown direction. So essentially, it seemed that Naomi was kidnapped. At this point, Naomi's entire family was also pulling together in an attempt to help find her. Her brother Casey began helping coordinate public searches. Her parents flew in from South Africa. Her sister Tamara also traveled from Texas to Nevada to help spread the word of her sister's disappearance. At one point, Tamara was also quoted saying, "This is life or death for my sister. Life or death. You need no one's approval in contacting law enforcement. This is life or death for a beautiful and fun, amazing sister, daughter, and friend."
Don't sleep very much. Trying desperately to save her life. Because we know that wherever she is not safe. We have to get to her. Time is running out.
A GoFundMe was also started somewhere around this time to help pay for the family's flights and rooming, since they all lived either in other states or outside of the country. So you can imagine how expensive that was going to be for a family to fly in all the way from South Africa and, travel from Texas to Nevada and then have to pay for rooming at the same time there. 3 days after Naomi was waiting for that shuttle in that Walmart parking lot, a ping from Naomi's cell phone would lead law enforcement to locate her vehicle in an industrial park behind a Sherwin-Williams paint store. And this industrial park was only about a mile away from that Walmart. Police would be quoted saying, "Evidence suggesting Naomi's disappearance is criminal in nature was located inside of the vehicle." Further cell phone activity led police to an area of State Route 427 and Hill Ranch Road, but her phone was never found. Police would also release information on a vehicle they felt was connected to Naomi's disappearance. And things would continue to move pretty quickly in this case, because on March 25th, police would end up receiving a tip from a neighbor who noticed a newer model 1-ton high country pickup, which was the exact vehicle that the police were actually looking for. And this neighbor noticed that this vehicle was parked in a neighboring garage and that the door of this vehicle was opened. So they felt suspicious and they ended up contacting police. Soon after this tip was received, 41-year-old Troy Driver would end up being arrested at his work. And when you hear this man's criminal history, you will not be shocked that this man was arrested. At just 15 years old, Troy was at a youth correctional facility for pointing an automatic pistol at another teen demanding information. At 17, Troy ended up pleading guilty as an accessory to murder of a 19-year-old man named Paul Steven Rodriguez. At 17 years old, Troy ended up coaxing Paul to his family's home, where Paul's girlfriend ended up fatally shooting him in the driveway. The pair then decided to dump Paul's body near Highway 28 in Navarro at 17 years old. What is happening here? Troy would eventually plead guilty to a number of armed robberies and then was eventually sentenced to 15 years in prison in Northern California for his part in Paul's murder. So, this is the man that is now arrested, who is thought to be in that surveillance footage going towards Naomi's car and kidnapping her. Absolutely terrifying. But things would end up getting worse, because on March 29th, a tip would lead authorities to a remote area of Coral Canyon Road in Churchill County. Here, Naomi's body would end up being found in a shallow grave. So now Naomi is found dead. Honestly, not much has been said in what has transpired between Naomi being kidnapped from that Walmart parking lot and then her body being discovered regarding what Troy may have done to her. Her autopsy did reveal that her cause of death was multiple gunshots to her head and chest. But regarding what he ended up doing to her, again, there aren't much details, but if we look into what Troy's charges are, it gives us some information. Troy is currently being charged with SA, kidnapping, and first-degree murder. So we can gather from that what he may have done to her and maybe what his motivations may have been in kidnapping her. But that's all we know about this sick bastard right now. Troy Driver's next court date is February of this year, so hopefully we'll get some more information on what happened in this case, because as I said, there's really not that much information, which is why I don't think many people have covered this case. I honestly hadn't heard of it until I just randomly found it while I was just doing some searches. But I am glad that I did find this case, because I think this case is a really good reminder of just general safety precautions for yourself. Now, when I say this, I am not victim blaming whatsoever. But I do think this case is a great example of why we should always lock our car doors, especially when we're stationary, sitting in a parking lot alone in a vehicle, especially at night, or at least when it's dark out. No matter how safe you feel in your town or in this parking lot of this location, because you've gone here multiple times. It just takes one person with bad intentions to change that. And that seems to be what happened in this case. It just happened that Naomi had her doors unlocked, so when Troy approached the vehicle, he was able to get inside. It does make me wonder if her doors were locked, if he might have just, walked away or not attempted to kidnap her because he wouldn't have been able to get inside, or if he still would have somehow gotten in that vehicle and kidnapped her if he was that determined. But I do think having your doors locked is a great deterrent, so someone can't just open your door, force themselves inside, or threaten, to get inside your vehicle. Following Naomi's murder, her sister Tamara and her husband have actually relocated from Texas to Nevada so that she can represent her sister in every single court hearing and appearance. That is real love right there. That she has literally uprooted her entire life and her family's life to be there and get justice for Naomi. I'll also have the family's GoFundMe linked below if you do want to continue to support the family to help them pay for any, additional living expenses or flights if they need to while they're remaining in the US or having to travel all this time and take off work to go to these court appearances. So again, I'll have that link down below. But as I said, that is all we really know at this current time about Naomi's kidnapping and murder. My heart goes out to this family and to Naomi herself, because this 18-year-old girl was just trying to be responsible and take herself to work. Yet this man, for some reason, decided to take that all away from her. She had so much to look forward to. She had so many plans, so many goals. She was just starting her life out after spending the majority of her life traveling and being under, high security all the time. And this man, Troy Driver, took that away from her. Took that away from her entire family and everyone that loved her. And she'll never get to experience going to college and having a boyfriend and, getting her own home and having children because of this man. For little to no reason. And that makes me angry. And I hope it makes you angry as well. As always, I will continue to bring you all updates if there are updates in this case. And if you want to stay updated, I do recommend hitting that subscribe button and turning on the notification bell. Not only will it help you to stay updated, but it also helps me to continue to create content like this and spend more time creating content like this, sharing these victim stories, and hopefully in the end, help get justice for them. With that, I hope you all stay safe out there. Remember to lock your windows and doors, and in this case, also lock your car doors. And I hope to see you all in the next video.